Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 10th of July. Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan hold first structured meeting in over a year. Over 24 killed in stampede in northern Bangladesh. And fans ecstatic as epic thriller Baahubali opens to full houses across India. And now for all the details. India and Pakistan announced several measures as their prime ministers met in Russia on Friday on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Giving a hold on lingering tensions between both the sides, New Delhi announced that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be travelling to Islamabad to participate in the SAARC summit next year.
This is the first meeting between the Indian and Pakistani Prime Ministers in more than a year. The hour-long talks came after a year of tensions, and there were positive developments from the meeting. Among them, the rivals agreed to hold talks between their national security advisors.
A meeting in New Delhi between the two NSAs to discuss all issues connected to terrorism. 2. Early meetings of DG BSF and DG Pakistan Rangers, followed by that of the DGMOs. 3. A decision for release of fishermen in each other's custody along with the boats within a period of 15 days. 4. A mechanism for facilitating religious tourism. And 5. Both sides agreed to discuss ways and means to expedite the Mumbai case trial.
Mr. Modi's government has insisted that Islamabad show more progress in prosecuting members of the Pakistan-based militant group blamed for the 2008 Mumbai attacks.
Both leaders condemned terrorism in all its forms and agreed to cooperate with each other to eliminate this menace from South Asia.
New Delhi called off diplomatic-level dialogue in August last year after the Pakistani envoy to India met Kashmiri separatists ahead of the talks. Relations dipped further in April when a Pakistani court released the alleged mastermind of the Mumbai terror attacks. There have also been clashes at the de facto border that divides Kashmir. And just on the eve of the meeting, New Delhi said an Indian border guard was killed by a Pakistani sniper. However, Friday's meeting has raised hopes of a thaw in relations, with the United States earlier welcoming the talks, saying tensions between the South Asian rivals are in no one's interest.
Shahidullah Shahid, a former commander of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, has been killed in a US drone strike on the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. Shahid, along with some of the top TTP militants, had recently pledged loyalty to the Islamic State last year.
Afghanistan's National Directorate of Security has confirmed that Shahidullah Shahid was among those killed in a drone attack on Thursday. The unmanned aerial strike was carried out in Achin district of eastern Nangarhar province near the Pakistan-Afghanistan border. 2 other senior commanders of the ISIS also reportedly died in the strike. Shahid, also known as Sheikh Maqbool Orakzai, was the spokesperson of the TTP until he parted ways with the militia to join the ranks of the ISIS in last October. According to sources, Shahid, who had rejected the leadership of Afghan Taliban Supreme Leader Mullah Omar, was a leading figure in the ISIS faction of Afghanistan. The drone attack also comes at a time when the Afghan Taliban and the ISIS are engaged in a fierce standoff in the Nangarhar province. Over 80 people have been killed from both sides in the conflict so far.
The Shia community in Pakistan observed Yom-e-Ali, the death anniversary of Imam Ali, the fourth caliph of Islam, with traditional zeal and tight security.
Thousands of Shia Muslims in southern Karachi took out processions to commemorate the martyrdom of Imam Ali on Thursday. The mourners beat their chest as they walked down the street to mark their grief. Imam Ali, the cousin and son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, is considered as their first Imam or supreme leader by the Shia sect. The commercial hub was also put under a tight security cover to avoid communal tensions. Mobile services remained suspended and pillion riding was banned throughout the city the entire day. More than 6,000 police personnel, including volunteers, were deployed along the procession's route.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह अभी तक पूरे रमज़ान में खैर खैरियत रही है और अच्छे कोई ऐसा मसला नहीं हुआ है। रेंजर्स बिल्कुल जिस तरह पहले है तो वो भी हमारे साथ है और मुख्तलिफ जगहों पे ड्यूटियां दे रही हैं।
Similar processions were held in eastern Lahore too. Thousands of Shias observed the day with special prayers at various mosques in provincial capital. Many called for unity among different Islamic sects.
मौला अली अलैहिस्सलाम का ये दर्स है कि तमाम मुसलमानों को एक होना चाहिए।
The day was also marked with traditional observation in cities like Hyderabad, Mirpur, Gujaranwala and Multan also. The minority Shia community makes up around 15% of the 180 million population of Pakistan. Shia processions like Yawm-e-Ali have come under attacks by Sunni extremist groups in the past. Religious centers and mosques of the community have also regularly been targeted by these groups who don't consider Shias as Muslims.
Alongside fasting and feasting, Muslims in Bangladesh are gearing up to herald the festival of Eid. From shopping to courtesy visits, merrymakers are pulling all stops to make the occasion grand.
Muslims across Bangladesh who are currently soaked into Ramzan revelry are getting ready to bring in the festival of Al-Fitr. In capital Dhaka, streets and markets are abuzz with busy shoppers as preparations for the big day are in full swing. Residents are thronging nearby hawkers and shopping malls to buy new clothes and jewellery. This time, the traditional drape sari has caught the fancy of many women.
ঈদ যেহেতু একটা আনন্দের উৎসব, ঈদের দিন একটা নতুন শাড়ি পরে ঈদ করব এটা সবাই চায়। সো দুলহান এসেছি শাড়ি কিনতে, নতুন একটা শাড়ি পরে সুন্দর করে ঈদ করব এর জন্যই।
For many, the occasion also means reuniting with their loved ones. Public transport in Bangladesh was stretched to its limits with commuters flocking on trains and ferries to go to their ancestral homes for the festival. Railway stations were chock-a-block with thousands trying to find a foothold on roofs of overcrowded coaches or hanging onto its sides. But not everyone was lucky enough to get on the train.
বাড়িতে যাব সবার সাথে ঈদ করব একসাথে এজন্য আজ সকাল 3টা থেকে দাঁড়িয়ে আছি এখনো ট্রেনের টিকিট পাইনি পাবো কিনা বলতে পারতেছি না দীর্ঘ লাইন দীর্ঘ অপেক্ষা
Eid-ul-Fitr marks the end of the holy month of Ramzan and the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his son as an obedience to the Almighty. Eid will be celebrated across the globe next week.
And while Bangladesh prepares for Eid, at least 24 people were killed in a stampede in its northern Mymensingh on Friday. The accident took place during a distribution of free clothes as part of observing the holy month of Ramzan.
The mishap happened in Mymensingh city, some 82 miles north of capital Dhaka. Over 1,000 people had assembled outside a garments factory in the city in the early hours of Friday to collect free clothes distributed by its owner. Locals said the factory owner distributed garments every year during Ramzan. This year, the main gate of the factory had been opened after Sehri for the distribution. The rush has also left over 100 people injured, many still remaining in critical condition.
ভোরে জাকাতের কাপড় দেওয়ার কথা ছিল ওই জাকাতের কাপড় নেয়ার জন্য আপনার গরিব মানুষরা এখানে জড়ো হয় এবং মানুষের চাপে পদদলিত হয়ে ব্যাপক প্রাণহানির ঘটনা ঘটে আমরা এখন পর্যন্ত 20টি লাশের সন্ধান পেয়েছি তবে এর সংখ্যা আরো বাড়ার ব্যাপক সম্ভাবনা রয়েছে কারণ আহত এবং নিহত ব্যক্তির পরিবার পরিজন এদের লাশ আপনার বিভিন্ন জায়গায় নিয়ে গেছে আমরা বিভিন্ন জায়গায় খোঁজ খবর করছি
According to reports, 8 people, including the factory owner, has been detained by police in connection with the mishap. Accidents triggered by overcrowding are a common occurrence in Bangladesh, especially during the festival seasons.
They play perfect horse up in the air. After serving the passengers with their ever-smiling faces, these flight attendants walked a different aisle this time. Take a look.
They have impressed all with their near-perfect presentation. Taking time off from serving their flyers, flight attendants of some 30 countries spread their charm elsewhere too. Ahead of Flight Attendant Day in Russia, capital Moscow's main airport turned a ramp with cabin crew sashaying down their high fashion scents. And standing tall and vibrant among them were air hostesses from Air India too. Donning their uniform of traditional saris, these women stood out for their chic looks. The unusual fashion show also saw genuine flight personnel highlighting the efforts that go into selecting the design, colors and form of the uniforms they wear at their jobs. Spectators were treated to an array of designs featuring a wide range of palettes and materials including silk and tweed. While some attendants stick to uniforms inspired from their country's traditional dresses, others flaunted fusion and signature cuts. Nations like France, Germany, Britain, Vietnam, Gulf, Thailand and Qatar participated in the event. Russia will mark its Flight Attendant Day on Sunday.
Not always do fans get to see an epic battle movie this big. Touted as India's most expensive film ever, this weekend release got much bigger with a smashing audience response at the box office. Take a look.
Cinefans this time are in for a grand spectacle that is both riveting and engrossing. Baahubali, which took 2 years in the making, looks every inch the effort through its grandeur and extraordinary expanse on the screen. The film opened to full houses across the country, pulling hundreds who did not mind waiting in long queues for hours to get the tickets. Many have been comparing its level to Hollywood films like Hercules and 300. Baahubali, made in 2 parts, is budgeted at $40 million, making it the costliest Indian film on the celluloid. It overtakes superstar Rajnikant's 2010 Tamil movie Ethiran, which was recorded as the country's most prized film so far. Lead actors Prabhas and Rana Daggubati were also ecstatic with the audience feedback.
A film like Baahubali, which no one have ever experienced in our country, like with the biggest visuals, with the biggest sets and with the biggest budget, India's biggest motion picture. And I think the audience will get thrilled with the visuals in the film.
Daggubati, who plays the antagonist, said it was the role of a lifetime.
You know how powerful these epic villains are, whether it's a Ravan or Duryodhana. See, Balal Deva is somebody like that, who believes that all that belongs to, or the throne belongs to him and he is the rightful heir.
And as if the scale of Baahubali was any less, its makers also unveiled its 50,000 square feet poster in southern Kochi, pushing it into the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's biggest film poster. Baahubali is a fantasy epic creating a spectacular universe of magic and larger-than-life characters. The cast of the film, along with leading lady Tamanna Bhatia and director S.S. Rajamouli, also took to capital New Delhi. They said the end product is way too greater than what they had imagined.
From the beginning itself, we knew it was going to be a very big movie, but we never realized that it's going to be this big.
Baahubali is a fantasy film spanning 2 generations. It traces the story of a father who has been backstabbed, a mother who has been enchained for no wrong, and the journey of a son who takes revenge. The film, which has been made in Tamil and Telugu, has also been dubbed in Hindi and other Indian languages. Its second part will release next year.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan hold first structured meeting in over a year. Over 24 killed in stampede in northern Bangladesh. And fans ecstatic as epic thriller Baahubali opens to full houses across India. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.